How goes it? David Belleville here with you, recording from the KMOX studios in downtown St. Louis. And before we get into any Cardinal baseball conversation, I just want to take a moment to tip my cap to the St. Louis Blues for an absolutely remarkable season, making it to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 15 years. And it really couldn't have come at a better time. The Blues playoff run came on the heels of the Rams' departure, the NFL absolutely bashing the city of St. Louis, the Cardinals being bested by the Cubs last October in the playoffs, devastating floods hitting the metropolitan area. I mean, I could go on and on and on down the laundry list of reasons as to why the city of St. Louis needed a pick-me-up, and the St. Louis Blues did just that. They lifted this city, and they put us on their back, and they took us on an absolutely incredible ride. And we are just so fortunate as sports fans to see the St. Louis Blues and the St. Louis Cardinals support and care about their city and our city as well the way that they do. So congratulations to the St. Louis Blues on an absolutely remarkable season. Now, to America's pastime, where many around the game designate Memorial Day as the first checkpoint in the regular season to determine what kind of team is on hand. And for the St. Louis Cardinals, they're just treading water heading into the month of June. Coming up, we'll take a look at why the Redbirds have struggled this season. We'll talk about Matt Adams' emergence, Mike Leake anchoring the pitching staff, and do the Redbirds have their first Rookie of the Year since Albert Pujols? We'll look more into that conversation as well. The Cardinals finished 3 games above 500 in the month of May at 16-13 and now own an overall record of 28-26 as of June 1st. That's good enough to be 9 games behind the Chicago Cubs, who sit at 35-15 atop the National League Central. And while nobody said it would be easy to catch those Cubbies atop the division, it's not necessarily impossible, and that is due in large part to the incredible performance so far of the offense that the St. Louis Cardinals have displayed so far in 2016. They lead the National League in runs scored with 293, and they're second in the National League behind the New York Mets with 72 home runs, and the power has been abundant. Brandon Moss leads the club with 10 home runs. Matt Carpenter and Matt Holliday are just one behind him with 9 apiece. Aledmus Diaz, Randall Grichuk, and Jeremy Hazelbaker each have 7 home runs apiece. Matt Adams, Jed Jerko, and Steven Piscotty each have 6 home runs. So the power is there. The ability to score runs is there. You go down the list, and the Cardinal offense is in the top 5 in virtually every single offensive category. And yet the Cardinals have just been hovering around 500 so far in 2016. But if anybody has anything to say about that, it is Big City Matt Adams. Boy, has he emerged, and he has been absolutely scorching as of late. In his last 30 games, he's batting .349 with 5 home runs, 22 RBIs, a .402 on-base percentage. This guy is absolutely killing it.
Now the pitch. A swing and a high fly ball. Deep center field. Back to the track. At the wall. It's gone! Home run for Adams. Tie ball game at 3. A pinch home run for Adams. That's the Cardinals' 9th pinch hit home run of the year.
And that's John Rooney with the call on KMOX. And how about those pinch hitters for the St. Louis Cardinals this season? It just seems like every other night there's a pinch hitter coming up and making a difference in the ballgame. But back to Matt Adams. This guy was fighting for a starting job this year, hasn't really been healthy since 2014, and now he's tearing the cover off of the baseball. And one of my biggest concerns going into this season was who is going to man first base. It cannot be a platoon situation during the course of an entire season. The first base position is too vital to the success of a team fighting for a playoff run, and Matt Adams has finally emerged to kind of run away with that position, and that makes things a lot easier for Mike Matheny, because Brandon Moss was brought here to basically be a super utility guy, not an everyday starter, someone who can start in the corner outfields, who can, give the regular first baseman a day off here and there, who can come off the bench and provide some pretty good power, which he's done so far this season. So with Matt Adams figuring into this lineup the way that he has, it kind of takes the stress off of a guy like Brandon Moss and certainly Mike Matheny. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for the St. Louis Cardinals. Unfortunately, their pitching has performed far less than what one would have expected going into 2016. However, that's not to say that things aren't at least slightly trending into the right direction, as Adam Wainwright, who came out of the gate looking like a pitcher we've never seen before, and his past month he is 4-0 with a 4.62 ERA, 6 walks to 26 strikeouts in 37 innings pitched. So, again, not Adam Wainwright numbers that we're used to seeing, but he has gone undefeated in the month of May. He has brought that ERA down from over 7 to under 6 at 5.71 going into June. He is 5-3. The problem with Adam Wainwright has been that he's not able to get as many swings and misses as he is used to. The batting average against Adam Wainwright is .288, so Uncle Charlie, his signature curveball, is getting hit a little too often for my liking, and I'm sure Adam Wainwright's liking as well. However, those numbers are trending in the right direction, and hopefully, who knows, by the All-Star break, we could see Adam Wainwright of old. Now, things get a little bit more concerning following Adam Wainwright with Michael Wacha and Carlos Martinez. Let's start with Carlos Martinez. In the month of May, he had a disappointing 1-5 record after coming out of the gates 4-0. He owned a 4.13 ERA in the month of May. He had 13 walks, 22 strikeouts, and 26.1 innings pitched. His record now stands at 5-5, and he owns a 3.69 ERA. Now, Martinez was 0-5 in the month of May, and his last start came on May 30th, Memorial Day. The guy went 8 innings pitched, scoreless with 8 strikeouts. So maybe Carlos Martinez was just going through a funk, because that last start coming on the road against Milwaukee was absolutely incredible, and the Cardinals needed it because Michael Wacha is cause for concern. He's only 2-6 with a 4.99 ERA so far in 2016, and then the last month has been absolutely atrocious. He was 0-5 with a 6.75 ERA in 32 innings pitched in the month of May, and opponents are batting .289 against him. Michael Wacha just seemingly looks lost on the mound. An ERA close to 7 and not a win to your name in the past month. I'm sure that's got the Cardinal organization stirring just a bit, because there's not much depth behind these 5 in the starting rotation. So Michael Wacha has got to figure this out for the St. Louis Cardinals. Jaime Garcia has been hit or miss so far in 2016. He owns a 4-5 record with a 3.48 ERA, and May was filled with mixed emotions for Jaime Garcia. He went 3-2 with a 3.18 ERA, and on the surface, that doesn't seem so bad, but there's really a tale of two Jaime Garcias. For example, on May 22nd versus Arizona, he lasted only 2.1 innings pitched while serving up 5 earned runs and 10 hits. And then there's the Jaime Garcia that we saw on May 27th against a very good Washington National team, where he went 7 innings pitched and only gave up 2 earned runs on the way to a Cardinal winner. So Jaime Garcia has to be a little bit more consistent going forward for the St. Louis Cardinals. However, we have seen flashes of brilliance from the lefty, and that's always a good sign in the course of a long season. Now, if I had the credentials to give out any sort of Player of the Month awards for the Cardinals, it would be a toss-up between Matt Adams and this next guy I want to talk about, Mike Leake.
The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. The third strikeout for Leake. That's 12 in a row. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Trout strikes out going for a pitch down and away. The fourth strikeout for Leake.
That's Leake pitching against the Angels earlier in the month of May. And in the month of May, he went 4-1 with a minuscule 2.31 ERA while striking out 23 in 39 innings pitched. In his last 5 starts, he's gone 6 innings pitched or better while giving up no more than 2 earned runs. This guy has been incredible in the month of May. After a fairly disappointing start to the season, he's really settled down with this club, and he's been the best starter out of the 5 in the last month of the season. It hasn't been all on the Cardinal pitching staff, however. The Cardinals lead Major League Baseball in errors with 46 through 2 months of the season, really straying away from that Cardinal brand of baseball that we're used to. Many of these guys are pitch to contact in the rotation and the bullpen, and when you have a middle infield that can't seem to make a play to save their life in Aledmys Diaz and Colton Wong, both have really been struggling up the middle, it's going to make it hard for your pitchers. You know, when you have to go out there and get 5, 6, 7 outs an inning, it's going to lead to base runners, and those base runners, more times than not, will lead to runs, and the Cardinals just cannot afford to begin giving up errors at the pace that they have so far in 2016. So it's really that middle infield that need to shore up their defense, and hopefully if that does happen, we'll see some more success from the Cardinal pitching staff as they won't have to labor as much through the games. Now, I did just mention Aledmys Diaz in the negative sense, but there is so many positives to talk about when you think about Aledmys Diaz. This guy has come up and he has absolutely dominated in the National League. He leads all rookies in average with a .328, very respectable in your first season in the major leagues. He also leads in runs scored with 36, on base percentage at .361, and overall hits with 59, and he's tied for 4th with his 7 home runs. He's really putting together an impressive rookie campaign, and the Cardinals have not seen a Rookie of the Year come through their system, even though they churn out Major League-ready prospects year in and year out. This guy seems to be special, and I talked about this a little bit last month. His strikeout rate is so unbelievably low. He's only got 23 strikeouts and 180 at-bats. Now, Trevor Story for the Colorado Rockies, he's been a pretty good story as well as far as rookies are concerned so far in 2016. He cranked out all those home runs to start his major league career. Anyways, he's got 76 strikeouts to Aledmys Diaz's 23 strikeouts. Now, Story does have a handful more at-bats than Diaz, but really those 23 Ks and almost 200 at-bats really says a lot about how he approaches each at-bat and his presence at the plate. I haven't seen someone with as much plate discipline and plate presence as a rookie in a Cardinal uniform since, that one guy, Albert Pujols. So certainly Aledmys Diaz is one of the early favorites for the 2016 National League Rookie of the Year, but there's still a lot of baseball left to get to during the course of this season. The dog days of summer are still ahead of us, and will the Cardinals defense shore itself up? Will Adam Wainwright, Michael Wacha, and Carlos Martina turn the ship? Will Mike Leake continue on the roll that he's on? Can Matt Adams stay as hot as he's been? All of this and more remains to be seen as the 2016 season rolls on. The Cardinals just staying afloat around 500 for the second month in a row as the Cubbies just keep on winning and rolling. But the most telling months of a Major League season are still ahead, which means in a month from now we could be talking about standings that look completely different than they do today. But for now, the Cubs are on top and the Cardinals are playing catch-up, but as we've seen in the past, these Cardinals can come back from anything. From the KMOX studios in downtown St. Louis, this is David Belleville saying, "Let's go, Birds!"